Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Rhino, man. This is SBN Sports Bash Nation. So as the greatest offseason in Bears history continues, the picture is getting clearer. We have filled plenty of holes. We've made some major moves. I think the return we got for Justin Fields was crazy. It was ludicrous. But I am glad that we did get the situation resolved. It was really becoming a daily circus, and I know we're all glad that it is over. I think it's pretty obvious that Caleb Williams is going to be the guy now, and I am excited for what the future holds these next couple years. I think the Bears' biggest question now is, what are we going to do with that number 9 pick? So I have come up with what I think are the best scenarios for the 9th pick. Ryan Poles has done a tremendous job filling a lot of holes that we had on this roster. So obviously quarterback is our biggest need now, but that will be filled once we draft Caleb Williams. After that, defensive end is our biggest need, followed by wide receiver and offensive and defensive tackle. The good thing is that we're not really pressed to fill one position, specifically at 9, so we can make the best overall move for the roster. I think there are 3, maybe 4 guys that if are available at 9, you send in the pick ASAP, and there are some scenarios where trading back and adding picks makes more sense. So I'm going to start with the guys that you would take at 9, and the first guy that comes to mind is Joe Alt. It is very unlikely that he is going to be there at 9, but if he is, unless Marvin Harrison Jr. happens to be on the board, you take him and you don't think twice. That is a dream scenario. Are you kidding me? You get the best quarterback and left tackle in the same draft to pair with 2 Pro Bowl level wide receivers? Yes, Lord. You add Joe Alt and you instantly have a top 5 offensive line in the NFL, a franchise quarterback, and cornerstone left tackle. Sounds like the type of draft that 30 for 30s get made about. Joe Alt is by far the best tackle in a loaded draft at tackle, and I think he's going to be an all-pro from day one. Bodies! Doesn't take a good scout to look at Joe Alt and see he looks like a prototypical left tackle. From a height and length perspective, he is exactly what you want for a cornerstone left tackle. He hits all the requisite numbers you want at the position. The most shocking part about looking at Joe Alt is knowing that he is a legitimate 321 pounds. His frame is so sleek, very little bad weight. There's no reason that he can't put on more weight without sacrificing any of that top flight athleticism. 6'8", 321 pounds. Had great numbers at the combine. He had a 7.31 second 3-cone drill, which was the highest for tackles at this draft. 8th best among offensive tackles at the combine going back to 1999. He's a former tight end. His father, John Alt, played in the league. Yeah, he's going to be an all-pro from day one. And if Joe Alt isn't there, which that's a long shot. Say if Malik Nabers is there, you take him. Imagine an offense with Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers is explosive. He has potential to be an all-pro receiver. He's a day one starter, and the opportunity to come in and learn from 2 consummate pros like Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. That sounds like a dream scenario. With those 3 paired up with Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett at tight end, Caleb Williams is always going to find an open man. Malik Nabers is a dynamic receiver, with outstanding competitiveness and production in college. As a 2-year starter, he put up numbers well over 1,500 yards last year. He explodes off the offensive line in his release, and he creates immediate separation. He sets up defenders before snapping off his route. He's an electric playmaker when he gets the ball in his hands. Kind of reminds you of DJ Moore. And ditto for Odunze. If Odunze's there at 9, you take him without hesitation. He has the frame and play strength of a true number 1 wide receiver. He has that separation talent. You can just throw up the ball and he's going to get it. He has 6'3", 212 pounds. He's a workhorse. He was a leader at Washington, a team captain. Everybody that talks about him talks about the respect and the work he puts in there. And what he did at the combine just kind of showed that. As this draft process has unfolded, Odunze, he went from the wide receiver 3 in the draft to wide receiver 2 in a lot of people's minds, and if not on the same level as Malik Nabers, which is where I have him. Pick your poison, Nabers or Odunze. I'd love to have either one. I figured Odunze would be available at 9 easily. Now it might be a long shot that Nabers or Odunze are there. If either one of them are there, you take them happily. Now, the last guy I would consider drafting at 9 would be Dallas Turner. I think he's the most explosive edge in the draft, and him paired with Montez Sweat, that would be amazing. And edge is our biggest need, so it would make sense. But if we get offers to move back a few spots, Jared Verse or Leatu Latu would be available, and I don't think there is that big of a talent gap between the three ends. Certainly not big enough to pass up adding extra picks in what it is a fully loaded draft. Dallas Turner would be somebody to consider. He's long and athletic. He has the explosive traits needed to become a star pass rusher in the NFL. His first step quickness and elite closing burst are important building blocks. He has a history of playing for winning programs in high school and college, possesses elite closing burst, chasing down backs and sacking pass rushers. And I'd also be tempted to take Olu Fashanu at 9, but like Dallas Turner, I think there will be solid options at tackle if you trade back. I have some trade back scenarios, and I'm going to start with trading back with the Las Vegas Raiders. So they move up to 9 and we get picks 13 and 44 in the second round. So here we move back a few spots and we pick up a very valuable second rounder in an absolutely loaded draft. And at 13, we would have some very intriguing options. Options like Jared Verse, Latu, maybe Olu Fashanu, Talisi Fuaga, Byron Murphy, Brian Thomas Jr., or even a Dallas Turner if he happens to fall to 13, which is a long shot, but it is very possible. And at 44, you also might have some great options like Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Legette, Troy Franklin at wide receiver, or tackles like Jordan Morgan, Patrick Paul, maybe a defensive tackle like Tavondre Sweat, or Braden Fisk, or edge rushers like Chris Broswell or Adiza Isaac. So there are great scenarios here. Scenarios like taking Jared Verse at 13 and getting Xavier Worthy at 44, or getting Olu Fashanu at 13 and Ladd McConkey at 44. There are a lot of combinations here, like a Chinese restaurant that I like, where I think you get 2 first-round talents for the price of 1. My second trade back would be with the Seattle Seahawks. You trade 9 and we get picks 17, 48 in the second round, and a 4th rounder, pick number 114. Picks to consider at 17 would be Leatu Latu, Talisi Fuaga, Byron Murphy, Brian Thomas Jr., Chop Robinson, maybe J.C. Latham or Jackson Powers Johnson. And at 48, the same guys that I mentioned in the last scenario, there are going to be some absolute studs at wide receiver available at 48 if you decide to take, Latu or Fuaga at 17. And Brian Thomas Jr. would be a good pick at 17, especially if you can get a guy like Chris Broswell or Braylon Trice at 48. And with that 4th round pick at 114, Brendan Rice, anybody? Or you can get an edge like Mohamed Kamara, guards like Zach Zinter or Dominic Pooney, or even a tight end like Theo Johnson. So I like the idea of turning 1 pick into 3 picks in a loaded draft, especially when we only have 4 picks coming in. In the last scenario, we move all the way back to pick number 26 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We get picks 26, 57 in the second round, and we get a 1st round pick in 2025. We pick up an extra 1st for next year, and we get a 2nd rounder in a deep draft. At 26, options include J.C. Latham, Chop Robinson, maybe Byron Murphy if he falls that low, Jackson Powers Johnson, maybe tackles like Amarius Mims or Troy Fautanu, maybe Jerzon Newton, Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, or Ladd McConkey. And at 57, maybe A.D. Mitchell or Xavier Legette or Troy Franklin falls. Or you could go maybe Braylon Trice, Tavondre Sweat, Braden Fisk, Patrick Paul, Cooper Beebe. So if we could flip that 9th pick into, say, Chop Robinson, A.D. Mitchell, and the 1st rounder for next year, I would be very pleased with that. So what do you guys think? I don't know about you, but I can't wait for the draft. I think the league and all the naysayers are in for a rude awakening in 2024. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you guys want the Bears to draft Caleb Williams? I've been hearing a lot of people say we should trade back and get like Jaden Daniels or J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. I think Caleb Williams is clearly the guy that we draft. I wanted Justin Fields because we could have traded that 1st pick and picked up bounty for the future. But all things being even, I would take Caleb Williams over Justin Fields if there's no extra picks involved. I think Caleb Williams is the guy that we are going to draft, and I'm excited for the future. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Y'all stay blessed. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.